So hello everyone, my name is Gareth Presch. I'm absolutely delighted to take part in today's Global Life Skills Day. I'm the founder of the World Health Innovation Summit. I'm a member of Pope Francis's COVID-19 Commission, and I'm the expert lead on Sustainable Development Goal 3 and 4 for the United Nations Global Sustainable Index Institution. I'm here to tell you a little bit about myself and my life story, and hopefully it's helpful for those tuning in today. Firstly, you can tell by my accent, I'm from Dublin. That's where I originally came from. I live in Cumbria now with my wife and 2 daughters, and I'm just coming up to my 43rd birthday. Who was I before I was the CEO of the World Health Innovation Summit? Well, I started my career in health services, working for the Irish Health Services, and I was the former chief officer of the National Haemophilia Council in Ireland. So that was dealing with the contaminated blood scandal in the 70s and 80s. And I worked on projects such as, hemochromatosis, variant CJD. And I pretty much dedicated my life to working in the public health service. I worked in acute hospitals, I worked in estate management, and I absolutely loved it. I spent many, they put me through college. I did a bachelor's degree in public management, and I also was always at the forefront of charitable organizations. We were part of a team. We raised money for the Tanya McCabe Foundation. We done work with the Haemophilia Society. We raised money for Children's Hospital, the cancer ward in Crumlin, over £100,000. We were part of the Cops for Kids initiative. And I just really was, totally focused on supporting my local communities, particularly those the most vulnerable in our society. I also was, growing up, I was involved in sports. I spent a lot of time playing football for Wayside Celtic, Bluebell. These are clubs in Dublin. I kept that going while I was, in the public health service. And that leads me on to why am I living in the UK? Well, my wife, Krista, is from the UK here, Carlisle and Cumbria. And after we had our first daughter, Mia, we decided it was time to move back across to the UK. And I came across with the vision to join the NHS and to see what I could do in the NHS. And I came across and landed in Carlisle, and just over 8 years ago now, and took a job just working in district nursing, digital health, and soon seeing the problems that we face. And this leads me into the future and kind of what I do now in terms of with the World Health Innovation Summit, and how, it kind of affects everyone in terms of our life skills and in the future. WIS is a platform really that came about from years of experience working in the public health service and looking at understanding how you develop value, in terms of cost savings, and then how do you apply that into business models, and then how can we create value within our communities around health and well-being. And that's pretty much what we've seen with COVID-19. We've seen the challenges and the problems that we face, and the main reason why I set the WIS platform up, which is purely based on prevention, so looking at good health and well-being, and that will lead me into the Sustainable Development Goals. My initial concept with the WIS was to help Carlisle and Cumbria to bring staff to the region, and with the platform World Health Innovation Summit, the idea attract academics, medical personnel to come to this event, and then local NHS systems could attract the staff. That was the initial concept, but I met some real great gurus along the way, some people who've really helped me throughout my journey. Professor Leif Edvinsson, for example, Brain of the Year. He gave me some advice around what we could potentially do with the platform, and really opened my eyes to what potential was there, an opportunity to, influence positive change from a healthcare perspective right around the world, using the WIS platform as an entry point into any health economy around the world. And that's what we decided to start to do. And by developing programs with WIS, as in WIS Kids, so looking at preventative activities for children in the schools, and WIS at work, stress management in the workplace, all of these things create value. And then WIS Seniors, which is falls prevention, quality of life, and loneliness. So you're engaging basically the whole health economy but in the community where the real opportunity is. So before people prevent or present with illness, you actually go out and you meet it head on. And that has a huge value proposition for local people to improve their health and well-being, and at the same time can save governments a lot of money by doing it this way. And I was able to map that out, measure that impact, and deliver a pound invested 36 back in societal impact. So that's a huge value proposition. That's a massive, if you look at the economy in the world, $12 trillion economy, that's it worldwide. So if you multiply that opportunity cost, it's pretty substantial and pretty significant. And that's how you can create new and meaningful jobs in this framework. You can also apply this framework as a kind of quality assurance framework and allow local cultures adopt it so that they can then use it as a circular economy for SDG 3. And I can, there's ways and means. We've published all this online, how we can do it. And really that brought me to Geneva in 2018. I was given an opportunity to present my work at the Global Ethics Conference. And at that conference, Roland Schatz, the senior advisor to the UN Director General Michael Muller, was in the audience, and we had a conversation around what could potentially be done. And very soon after that, he asked me, would I join his team to deliver the SDGs in cities around the world? And really, we would identify lighthouses around the world and go and bring the investment and the knowledge and the know-how to actually implement the 17 SDGs around the world. And that's really what I've been focused on with the UNGSII Foundation for the last 3 years. And that's also given me the opportunity to meet with Pope Francis and to work with his team at the Vatican and join the Group 2 Looking to the Future as part of the Vatican Commission. And ultimately what we're trying to do here is to implement the 17 SDGs by 2030. And it's absolutely vital. We see the situation with COVID, and that's going to be exacerbated. A lot of people won't understand, but, they may not know this, but, by 2030, we'll have 18 million staff short in the world for health. And so, but that's also an opportunity because we can create these new and meaningful jobs in prevention. And that's really what our aim and mandate is. And so we're doing that with, UN Habitat and partners around the world. The faiths are involved as well. And we want to really empower people to improve their health and well-being, and at the same time, create new and meaningful jobs. All of this while supporting existing healthcare systems. So we can strengthen WHO, we can strengthen local healthcare systems around the world and give people that ownership, and at the same time show that that value can be created. It's been a journey for myself, and I've had, as I mentioned, many surprises or many mentors, but also some good surprises along the way. I've been to the World Economic Forum. I've mentioned meeting Pope Francis, which was a huge honor and a massive surprise to be given that opportunity as well. And being asked to join the COVID-19 Vatican Commission was a big surprise. To get that email from Father Augusto was a big surprise. I mean, and also the opportunity to meet people along this journey. Every day is new. You get the opportunity to meet so many different people. I've been to the French ambassador's residence in Belgium, for example. I've spoken at the European Committee of the Regions in Brussels, and I've had the opportunity, to meet, speak in Westminster. I've had, so many amazing opportunities, gone to the States, traveled around the world, and all on the advocacy of improving people's health and well-being. And I'm very excited to look forward to the future. I mean, there's been so many learnings on this journey. One of the key ones for me was I met the Sony vice president before in Lund with Professor Leif Edvinsson. And I remember Leif saying to me and to colleagues about time advantage. And at the time, I didn't really understand what that meant. But it's really about understanding when someone has a really good idea and they stick to it. Well, then you have a time advantage. So your early adopters are those who benefit the most. And I've really understood, I've really got the concept of that under my belt. One of the other surprises I can tell you about a story was with Al Berkeley, the former president of NASDAQ, and we were talking outside the Vatican, and he introduced himself to a colleague who was there, and he said I was a serial failure, as in Al was a serial failure. And that really stuck in my mind as as really, that's really what we need to do, is get used to failing. And that's really what this journey is all about, and not to take it to heart that a no or a closed door, don't let that stop you from your vision or your ambition. That's just someone's opinion. And there's, go to the next door and keep going to the next door and even build that door if you need to. So I think these are real lessons that we have to learn. And don't be worried about whether you fail or not. The most important thing is to just make that effort every single day. Get up, show up, do the work, and work hard with ethics and honesty and integrity. That's all you can do. I mean, I had a very fortunate mentor in the health service, Professor John Bonner, obstetrics and gynecology, and he was our chairman at the National Haemophilia Council. And to say I owe a lot to that man is putting it mildly. He just really, I learned a hell of a lot from him in terms of ethics, honesty, integrity, and continuously working hard and trying to better yourself every day, just learning from each experience as well. Just, these are vital life skills in what you do. And ultimately coming down to, like, why is it so important that we implement the 17 SDGs? Well, I think it's clear from COVID, we can see that we need change, particularly in healthcare, but also when we look at the climate situation, it's vital that we look to the future. We need to be looking at what are we leaving for the future in terms of our children. I have 2 young daughters. I'm very much looking at how will we ensure that they have jobs in the future. What does the future of jobs look like? How do we manage to balance everything around the world? How do we ensure that no one is left behind? And really that comes down to mindset, and also our mindset towards what we want the future to look like. Do we want an equitable and a fair society? How do we build that equitable and fair society? How do we ensure that we, leave no children behind, and that they have opportunities like we have? I was talking to my wife earlier just about the opportunities my 2 girls have. They have immense opportunities. The most important thing is they have the love of their family, and then they have educational opportunities. But not everyone in the world has that, and it's important that we share that knowledge, that wisdom. Wisdom is an important word here. Understanding and taking time and patience. We live in a digital age, but things take time. Mindsets take years to change. We know things that work and we know how to do them, but we have to, we have to bring in that knowledge and that wisdom and share it. And also, change is difficult. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time to build that momentum. It's going to be the same with the 17 SDGs. It's going to take time. But with COP26 coming up in the UK, we have an opportunity there, and we can build on that momentum as governments and institutions, and then businesses realize that the future of business is aligned to social good. If you do good as a business, people follow you, they buy from you, they buy your products, your services. That's really important, that we understand the value, the intangibles, as we say. I have a conference next week where I'm talking about the value of healthcare, and it's massive. It's not really measured, intangible assets. If you look at the top companies in the world, the top tech companies in the world, they base their whole business model on intangible assets, and it's extremely valuable. What about the intangible assets within the healthcare system, within education? They are massive opportunities for us to look at how do we generate that value back into communities. There's new ways of thinking. How do we bridge into financial sectors? Okay. The financial sector and local communities. How do we bridge that gap? There's such a gap between those who finance projects and those who actually have the projects on the ground, who need the finance. So we need to bridge that gap. We also need to scale these ideas. What works well in Carlisle, for example, can work well in Mumbai, vice versa, or it's working well in Pretoria. How do we transfer that knowledge quickly? We have digital means, but we need to be able to share that knowledge really quickly and then bring those opportunities to scale. So that's kind of where we're going, why it's important. 193 heads of state stood up in 2015 after the Millennium Development Goals and said, this is the compass for the future. By 2030, we're going to deliver these 169 targets, and we're going to focus on the 17 SDGs. So that's really where I'm going with this and what I want to try and achieve. I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity to be part of the Global Life Day Skills Day and to share this knowledge and to have this opportunity. I hope people are enjoying the discussion, or my words of wisdom, shall we say, my experience. It's been a journey. It's a learning curve for me. As I said, I'm 43. I've still got a lot to learn. Every day is a new opportunity for me to learn something. I very much try my very best to be really diversify my interests. I find that is a great way to stimulate the mind, taking time out as well to relax, to maybe go and enjoy exercise. But what I mean by diversification, I mean like go to other industries that you would never really think of, and go to different sectors and see what can you learn from that sector. And I always look at things from a health and well-being perspective, because health and well-being, without health, there is no wealth. And also, the simple things like water. Like I spoke at a flooding conference before, and I was invited to speak, and I was able to articulate how, when people are flooded from their houses, they suffer from mental health. A&Es get clogged up, unfortunately, pardon the pun, from people who are then rushed into A&E because of the floods. So I mean, there's a health connection to all the 17 SDGs. We've got no poverty, quality education, partnership for the goals, for example. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, but it really depends again on the mind, the leadership. One of the things we have to do is find the leaders of tomorrow and the next generation. We need to encourage them to not to be risk averse, not to be risk averse. It's one of the things we must look at. I think as a learning, we need to encourage people to fail, and to fail quickly, but also then to learn from their mistakes, and then to understand how do they rectify those mistakes. And then just try and do our very best, as I said, to ensure that we have a sustainable future, and one that kind of one that we can be proud of, and one that everyone has a fair chance across the board. And so that's really, I think, my words of wisdom. And I do hope that I've given a bit of an insight into how we've worked and got to this position with the World Health Innovation Summit. It's very much a platform that is about empowering people to improve their health and well-being, and then our work with the foundation to implement the 17 SDGs, and of course then trying to build those bridges between, as I said, financial investors and those on the ground who have projects, and to ensure that local cities and communities are not left behind, and that they have a voice, and that they're able to look to the future, and to have optimism, to have hope, and have faith in what comes next. And also look at the positives in the world. We've got a lot of good things happening in the world. We have a lot of solutions as well. Be really solution focused, and just aim to kind of deliver those opportunities that are there. They exist. And also one of the key messages that I've seen within this sphere of working within different multi-agencies is that financially the finance is there. It's just we need to bring the projects to fruition, and not many people understand how to bank projects, and that's what we've been trying to do with the cities. How do we make bankable projects? How do we entice investors to invest into these projects? And a lot of that is built around trust as well, and that's a key element of this. I mean, I've been surprised that I can see the trust meltdown. It was one of the publications I've been reading at the World Economic Forum, and about how trust is eroded, and we need to bring that back. We need to build trust in the community, and we need to also people working with integrity. We need to also champion them, and we need to support them, and those who put their head above the parapet and try and make positive change. We very much have to champion them and support them. And remember, there is ethical ways of doing business. You can generate large sums of money through ethical business and then reinvest that back into local communities. And it's just a circular economy then. I mean, there's no reason why, the tech giants of the world, those individuals that we know of, why can't we do that from a socially ethical, responsible business point of view? Create these new business models that these platforms that can be ethical, sustainable, and totally viable from an investor's point of view, and also from a community point of view. That if you invest in that company, that money is going to be reinvested back into local society. So and leave no one behind. So that's a little bit about me. I'm absolutely delighted to be part of this forum. And I just want to thank everyone for listening. And I hope that's all made sense. And anyone who has any questions, you can contact us at www.wis.world, or the UNGSII Foundation is ungsi.org. And we're involved with the SDG cities with UN Habitat. We've got a cities investment facility. You can find all that information online. I'm on Twitter at Gareth Presch. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. So very much look forward to connecting. And I just want to say thanks. And I'm very grateful to be part of the Global Life Skills Day. So thank you very much, and bye-bye.